Well then, hello. Hi, welcome. Today I want to talk about reading for fun. So this week I have been reading a few different things. Since it was almost Halloween, I was reading The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, because most of the time when I read, I'm reading right before I go to bed or like randomly during the day or something. But I was reading just like in the evening for fun. And it was so nice, and it got me thinking about how there's a lot of people that have a hard time reading, like either your attention span is really short, so you have a hard time paying attention, you just do a lot of other things for fun, and so you don't read, or you're really tired at the end of the day, so you just want to turn your brain off. There's a lot of benefits to reading for fun, which everyone already knows, that it's like, oh, I should be reading. But it's like there are actual reasons why it's good for you. So I'm gonna go over some of those, but I also don't think you should read for fun because you think it's gonna be good for you. Like, you should do it because you enjoy it. But I think reading can sometimes be similar to running. Okay, I know it's good for me, and like, I know I feel good afterwards, but I just don't want to do it. And it's like, okay, fair enough. If you don't like to run, don't run. Like, no one's making you. But maybe you don't have to go on a run. Maybe you can do something else that you actually enjoy. And I think sometimes with reading for fun, it's like there's only one type of book you should read that's reading for fun. Oh, I should only be reading mystery novels. Romance books are really popular right now, so people are like, oh, I need to be reading these romance books. But it's like, you don't have to read romance books if you don't like them. I can be really picky with those types of books. Sometimes the writing style in those just really bothers me, and it's like, I can't stand to read it if I don't like the writing style. And so I don't love all of them, but sometimes I find something that I really like. All to say with reading for fun, there's no rules. Like, it's for fun. So just find something that you enjoy, and if you try something and you don't like it, or it's like taking you forever and ever to finish and you're like, oh, I don't want to read this book, find a new one. And there's a lot of different ways to get into it, but just find something you actually like. But alternatively, sometimes you'll like go do something else, and then you'll come back to the original thing and you'll actually end up liking it more now that you've had more experience with other things. Maybe you're like, I can't read literary fiction. Like, I'm not reading East of Eden for fun. That's crazy. Maybe you'll start reading other things that you like, and slowly you'll find your way and you're like, oh, I actually do want to read East of Eden now. Not that everyone has to read that book, but just as an example. You can try it, and if you don't like it, maybe come back to it later or just give up on it. Everyone has different tastes in books, and you should just find something that you actually like and get started with it and try some different ways to start reading for fun. So that's the preface. I'm thinking about reading for fun. Let's start by just going over some of the reasons reading for fun is good for you. I'm gonna come back to this another day so I can like spend some time reading some more scientific articles. So I'm gonna look into some more articles to like add some better information or like link them below. But a lot of the things that are about reading for fun that are like articles and stuff are why it's good for young kids and like in their development. But remember, everyone has a brain. The brain is malleable. So some of these benefits that are listed for young kids are going to be the same for adults, I think. You can always learn something. Greatbooks.com, 5 reasons to get caught reading for fun, specifically for kids. Number 1, cognitive development. It can help expand your vocabulary, boost working memory, develop your writing skills, and increase concentration. It will help your brain store things, because if you think about it, when you're reading like a 300-page book, you have to remember what happened earlier in the book, which you might have read days ago, you might have read hours ago, or you might have read like a month ago. And it's like, oh, I have to remember who this character is. Your brain's storing that memory and having to access it again. It's helping your brain work. Even if it's a book that's just for fun, it's still doing something that's probably a little better than, for example, watching like a 2-second TikTok. Not that you can't do both. You can read and watch a 2-second TikTok. But one is actually using your memory in a real way, and the other isn't. So you can add in reading to get that memory assistance, which will help you always, because you're always going to use your brain. It can lower your stress, which I find very true. If I'm like sitting down and reading my Harry Potter book for like 2 hours, I feel pretty good. It can expand your imagination, which is something that's like not always in use if you have like a regular job or, you know, aren't creating something all the time. It's a way to get you to like be putting these pictures together in your brain and like adapting to new ideas and learning about new parts of the world. It helps you imagine something that's different from what you can see right before your eyes. it can create empathy. So if you're put into a novel where there's like a first person perspective or there's a main character, as you're going through the novel, you're looking at it through that character's eyes, which helps with your empathy and, you know, might help you think more about other people in real life. Number 5, it can develop self-identity. Hopefully when you're reading, you're gonna find things that resonate with you. This thing is like me. I'm like this thing. It creates a sense of self-identity. Kind of a circular argument, but if you sit down and you're like, oh, I'm just feeling really lost right now, it's like, go find something that you enjoy reading and it will strike a chord with you. And the same thing is going to happen if you find something you don't like reading. It's like a little something about yourself you can learn, and it is not really harmful in a lot of ways. Like, as long as you're not like putting down someone else for liking something that you didn't like, if you go on this reading journey and you start reading something and you're like, oh, I really like that part of it, but I didn't like this other part, but let me find another book that's similar, or maybe let me go try something completely different. It's going to help you build up your taste in books and help you understand what exactly you enjoy and what makes you happy. And that is a way of understanding more about yourself. But if I'm reading, I'm engaging with an art form, even if it's like a really shitty book, it still is, someone wrote it and they put their time into it. And I'm understanding more about what I like as a person. There are all these benefits to reading. You're going to improve your memory. You're going to lower your stress. You're going to create a better sense of self. You're doing it in a process that's leading you to find more enjoyment. The way I'm saying it right now, it sounds really boring, but it's like, it's for fun. Like, you're going to like it. And if you don't, find something else to read. And there's a lot of books out there. Trust me, if you've been to a book fair, you're like, wow, they really are publishing a lot of books. There's something out there for you. So this is my way of convincing you that reading is good for you. And now we're going to talk about, how do I read for fun? You're going to want to have a book that you're going to read, and you also have to have a way to get to the book. So let's start with, how do I find a book I want to read? Find a book that's not super serious to start with. There's a lot of like books that are labeled as like high literature. Maybe you should have read them in high school and then you didn't, and you're like, oh, I should read that book. Maybe don't start with those because they're probably not going to be the most fun. And the goal here is to build up a habit of reading for fun. So if you're picking up a book that's like too intense or a little hard to understand if you haven't been reading in a while, it's going to turn you off, and you want to pick up something that's for fun. Like, you want to just find something you enjoy doing. That's the goal here. So find a book that you think looks fun and exciting. Some ones I would recommend that are really fun: Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I've recommended to people a lot. The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, the same author as Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Attached Mints by Rainbow Rowell, I think is super fun, quick to read. It's kind of romancy, but it's not like too romancy. Harry Potter is always a good one. Different fantasy books can be fun. A lot of people like reading those. Detective stories can be fun. Gone Girl is a book I read like in one sitting. There's a lot of books out there. Think of like, what shows do you like to watch if you're someone that watches TV, and try to find a book that's like kind of matching the show that you like to watch. I like a warm-hearted comedy, so the books that I tend to like are things that are kind of warm-hearted comedies. Like A.J. Fikry is like that. The other ones are like that, so that's what I like. If you're like a huge lover of Game of Thrones, well, there's books for that, so you can read that, or try to find a fantasy book. Just like go off of what you already like. If you're someone that likes listening to old music, maybe you're gonna love one of those like serious books. Just look for that. Based off of what you already know that you like. Ask your friends for recommendations. Be like, what do you think I should read? What have you liked to read? Ask them. You can always look it up online. Don't go to the New York Times book review. That's not gonna give you something for fun. Like, it's not. Go to like someone else's recommendation. Like, there's a lot of people on YouTube that make book videos. See what they like. That will give you a starting place. The other thing you can do is you can leave a comment and be like, these are some things I like, what should I read? And I'll try to recommend something to you. If you go to the library, if you're in the US, there should be a library nearby you. Go to the library. If you don't already have a library card, you can look up online how to get one, or you can ask the librarian. And then wander around the library. All of the books are free. Look at all the covers, read the, well, don't look at all the covers. There's a lot of books in there. Try to find a cover that looks interesting to you, read the back, pick out like 2 or 3 of those to check out because you're allowed to check out more than one book at once. Start them, see if one's getting your attention, try to stick with it for maybe like a few days. If you really don't like it, you don't have to finish it, try another one. The only caveat to the library thing, which is like, I love the library, so this is a big one. Sometimes they're on a time crunch. Like you can only check out a book for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. Usually you can renew them, but if you're worried about like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this before the library is going to take it back, just you can buy it. Like you are allowed to buy a book. You don't always have to use the library. And then you can have it for as long as you want and it won't be taken away from you. And you can work on finishing it. So those are some ways to get started. If you're really worried about your reading abilities, you can always listen to an audiobook. But I think you might get more into it if it is like on an e-reader or on a piece of paper because you're reading with your eyeballs instead of listening. But whatever way seems fun to you, go for that. Like if you have a really long commute, maybe start with your audiobook. If you're looking for time in your day to read, I recommend reading before bed to start with because that's when you kind of are already winding down and you probably have something of a like routine, like you brush your teeth before you go to sleep. Just add in reading a couple of pages and it will probably make you a little bit sleepy, so that is also a benefit. And you don't have to read for long periods of time right away or ever. Like you can read for 10 minutes and that counts. My camera is like dead, but good luck everyone. You got this. Go find a book. Let me know what book you found, if you liked it or if you put it back down. Ask people for book recommendations. And remember, if you're reading for fun, it's for fun. There's no rules. Whatever you like is okay. You know, surely there's some book that's probably not the best idea, but all books are allowed, basically. So also maybe look on lists of banned books because those probably have something kind of fun in them. Anyway, okay. Enjoy reading your book for fun. Okay, bye. Tell me what you find.